We should plan early for retirement. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the next best time is now. The earlier we start planning, the earlier we can retire. So planning early for retirement is great. Wikipedia mentioned you should start planning for retirement in your 20s, and even at aware.org.sg mentioned you should really start planning 20 to 30 years before retirement. According to CNBC, if you want to achieve 1.7 million by 65, assuming you're 25 of age, you only need to save $486 a month. But just delaying that by 5 years and starting to plan by 30, you'll need to save $741 per month. So knowing all this, why are we not doing it? Of 2,000 working adults between the age of 21 to 65, right, that was surveyed last August, only 35% said that their retirement plans were on track, and that is a down on the previous year. Even in the US, under CNBC, people who are actually starting or already started to plan for retirement are only a minority few. The majority of them have not started yet. So why is it so hard to start planning for retirement early? Is there something really fundamentally wrong with us? After reading online, and of course, constant interactions and observations from clients, I have derived 6 reasons why people do not start planning for retirement. Keep watching and I'll share with you more. Number 1 is starting too late. We often plan what's nearer. For example, planning your house, planning marriage, planning a kid, planning a second kid, then suddenly the next property on upgrade again. So retirement becomes pushed back because we kind of take it for granted that it's something that is for next time. And there's a trap to this mindset of starting too late. When you have that mindset, you may fall into, it's too late to plan already, then you don't plan. Or when it comes, I'll make it with what I have. So it reached a state and mentality of, in a very blunt manner, it's like giving up or just settling with what you have or you are by then. I think I'm right now, don't we all have a dream retirement that we actually want to have? It's okay to not dream huge, but just remember you don't have to settle for less, because actually we all have a choice, which is to start now. Number 2, we all have too many expenses. Often, our first roadblock is this. You don't actually see past that. And this is like an unspoken rule, The moment you start working, suddenly any bills and things that goes on your shoulders, now it's on you. Like, hey, you got to pay this, you got to pay that. Even you're not attached. Suddenly, people will ask you, hey, when do you want to buy a house? When do you want to get married? Or if you're attached, or when do you have a kid? Or when to buy a car? A lot of all these expenses start to flood to you, and you get exposed to them in one shot. It's a really shocking thing, and we have entered what I call actually the lion's den, where there's a lion constantly chasing you at the back on expenses. And here's the truth: if you're thinking that your expenses will be lesser as time goes by or later age of life, no. There's a thing called the liability curve, where your expenses will only keep increasing until a time where maybe where your kid have matured and they can support themselves. Second, when maybe you are satisfied with your current house, you don't have to keep upgrading anymore, even your car not upgrade anymore. In a nutshell, this is from the book called The Psychology of Money. Staying off the chapter is called Never Enough. The true point where we start to be okay is when you feel that you have enough. And that's when expenses start to not increase. Before that happens, no matter if you believe that the lifetime inflation won't creep on you, you are one that is very disciplined, here's the truth. It's really a really small minority of you. If you are, good for you, but a big majority, we are not. We're going to accept that expenses will keep rising until we reach that golden state of enough. Number 3 is the interruptions of career. Today, I think most of us are taking more breaks compared to the past. We have the whole YOLO concept where we want to travel now because next time we cannot. We accept a lower pay because I experience life. So I'm not saying that that's bad, but that's happening more often today. With that, it of course interrupts your income flow, amount you take as an income, and this may contribute to the reason why also people don't achieve retirement as they should. Number 4 is the health crisis of family members or the lack of insurance. So for those who don't know, in the past, insurance was perceived as like pantang, like very bad luck. That means if someone actually approached someone to buy insurance, they'll think that, hey, don't curse me, hey, you want me to go hospital, is it? You want me to die? Thus, a lot of people in the past don't purchase insurance, or even at a very extreme end, they say they don't believe in insurance. And because of that, should unfortunate events happen and they end up in the hospital, that's where the hefty bills will incur, and unfortunately all this big weight will be upon the family's shoulders. You have no idea how big will the bills be. You'll just keep paying. This will become a big hole in your bottle where money just flow out. So this will also set an individual a few steps back for retirement. Number 5, giving to the children. As some of you become parents, your priority in life no longer is yourself or even your partner. It becomes the kid. You're going to provide the best for them because you love them. But because of that, most of us will have entered this void where your focus is only on the kid. Ultimately, we only have limited resources because our pay is X amount of money. If we give some there, naturally it gives lesser to ourselves, right? It's a zero-sum game. And of course, the planning gets pushed back only when, as I mentioned earlier, the kid grow up, mature already, they can take care of themselves. Then you realize that, oh, now it's my time to start retirement. And your time left to plan for retirement becomes really little. I'm not saying that it's not good, of course we should, but there are ways to plan this. Okay, and last but not least, number 6 is the failure to consider inflation. Yeah, so before COVID, it was still negligible. People know and they are aware, but they can just turn a blind eye and just think, no, it's fine. But right now, after COVID, I think that is really a surprise, in your face and smack you awake where you hear more people complaining that, wow, Singapore is really expensive. Not that it's cheaper in the past, it's already expensive, but individuals today are actually feeling the actual impact of inflation that, wow, even I breathe also expensive. I don't know if you saw a TikTok video, this TikTok where they still want to go out. They step outside, ching money. Step inside, also ching money. This is a very real thing today. Inflation is such a silent killer. You no longer silent, they're telling you that I'm here. It's gonna attack you. So these 6 reasons are why people do not actually plan for retirement or did not achieve the ideal retirement. But don't worry if you're thinking, how can I do it? How can I start? I got you covered. And I have developed 5 ways that can actually allow you to start planning for retirement. Number 1, spend some time to understand what is retirement to you. I think all of us take retirement like a knowledge-based thing, but there isn't an emotion or purpose attached to that thing. Those that are actively pursuing retirement, there's a reason and emotion behind the term retirement. It's very personal to themselves. What if today money is not an issue and you don't have to work anymore? Will you be happier? Can you explore more around the world? Will you have more control of what you want and what you don't want in life? All these are questions that you can ask yourself to understand what is retirement to you. Number 2, plan your milestones in alignment with yourself. Somehow there's an invisible deadline to why we do certain things. For example, by this age, you want to get a house, get married. Despite the fact that we may not be financially ready for those big things, they do it anyway just because. Sometimes I can hear reasons like, oh, I just need my own space. If their financials are not ready, this may impact the financial nucleus because it's a big chunk. Unless really in unforeseen circumstances and it's something at a very personal reason that is a last resort that you have to do it, sure. But I think we don't have to rush it due to a societal norm. We don't have to rush it just because there's this deadline we are rushing. You've got to pay attention to your finances and what fits best for you. So once you get the first 2 done up, right, your purpose of retirement, and you have aligned your milestone better with yourself, now you got to know how to achieve them. The third way you're going to say now is leverage on a system. No matter how strong, how disciplined you say you are, we are not robots. We do have emotions. But because of these emotions, we do not have something that actually forces us to follow through. Most people achieve something because they force themselves to follow through and they achieve it. You want to be really fit and you gym when you feel like it? Impossible. Most of us do not rise up to our level of expectation. In fact, we often fall back to our level of programming, like bad habits, instant gratification, compulsive spending. Thus, having a system will allow you to see through the process to fruition. Number 4 is to start before you have any huge expenses. Most people have the mistake of
a lot of expenses are coming. I plan it when I get used to expenses.
But as I mentioned earlier, the liability curve only gets higher when these expenses got get used to. Guess what? A new one come in your way.
Yeah, but got one more.
So the best time is actually now, because you can change the past. Think about it. A lot of us are already accustomed 20% CPF. When it comes in, let's say you earn 4K, you automatically count that I left 3.2. But think about it. If today CPF tell you that, hey guys, now contribution is 40%, shock, understop, and then we start to panic, start to complain and say,
cannot lah, too little money, cannot lah,
But let's rewind back to the example. CPF declared that it's 40% contribution since the beginning of time. You take 4K, you naturally minus 40% and say, my take on this amount. So it's a matter of habit and getting used to. As I mentioned in one of my very early video, my YouTube, money or finance is not a technical game, but a psychological game. So the earlier you start, the easier it is to get used. Okay? Can? And number 5, you also want to start as soon as you have a significant increase in your salary, but before you actually get used to that salary. You'll be more likely to follow through this process compared to you get used to the spending already, then set aside money for retirement, for investments. It will feel very painful. It's much more difficult psychologically. So you don't want to reach that state and you gotta debate with yourself, start now, you want next time now, my pay increase and start. They'll go through this loop. Don't have time. Alright, and if I close, I'll bring this article by CNBC, and this is by Katie Taylor, the Vice President of Top Leadership at Fidelity Investment. If you spend the first half of a career not saving, you have got to do a lot of catching up at the later stage in life. You may not have the time to ride through the market fluctuation and volatility. Okay, so if you like what I'm sharing, remember to like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to engage my service, to let me know. You can engage in the personal consultation at the site. And I'll see you in my next video. Peace!